All right, today, guys, we got something a little bit different for you, something special. We have an interview with Austin Handel, project lead of Elder Studios' The Legend. Talk to him for a little bit about the game and what he's going to be doing to kind of reinvent the Slender mythos. The game recently reached top 10 in Steam's Greenlight service, so that makes it official. It was a fun interview. I hope you guys enjoy. Here it is. All right, and we're here with Austin Handel, creator of The Legend, and we're going to be talking a little bit about his game that is on Steam Greenlight. Austin, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. How are you guys doing tonight?
Doing fantastic.
Very well.
Yeah.
Starting off, you just want to give us a little backstory on how The Legend got started, where you came up with the idea?
Well, I mean, actually, I started working in the CryEngine actually years ago, and I saw there was an update for the CryEngine 3 software development kit, and I hopped into it. And, I just wanted to see if I still had, my old skills. Like, I hadn't touched it in quite some time.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And, I put together something similar as, like, you're being stalked in an urban area. And I was like, whatever. It's not really that big of a deal. And then, I really started to... This is months before, like, the Slenderman hype really picked up. And once I really started looking into that, I researched, everything from, like, the roots of the mythology, which was, like, Der Ritter to Der Grobman, which, Der Grobman was about, a beast that stalked bad children and chased them through the woods. Der Ritter was about a woodcutting that was focused on a skeletal figure, which is, believed where the Slenderman idea came from, stealing children from families.
Right.
And from that, I sort of got this idea, and after viewing, the response from Slender, by Parsec Productions, which right now is renamed to Slender the 8 Pages, it really fueled me to, put together a team and, see if we really could put something better out there. I mean, I'm not disrespecting Slender, the 8 Pages. They are a great team, and they're actually on my coalition. But we want to put out something that can reach more masses, something different, something with next-gen graphics that can really get through and get down to the core of every man and really just maybe freak him out for quite some time.
Yeah, I mean, the CryEngine 3 is beautiful, so you picked the right thing if you want to go for, the next gen. Yeah. So how long have you been working on it?
As of right now, the team has actually been we've been working on it for about 6 months, I'd have to say. But we really, if you really want to look back on it, I'd probably have to say 8 months altogether.
Okay. So like the other 2 months were kind of like getting the idea together and all that?
Yeah, pretty much. Just sort of looking into it. That's back when it was just being stalked by some guy in an urban area.
Right. And you just kind of adopted that idea and just kind of moved it over?
Exactly.
We've seen a lot of games recently in the horror genre that deal with atmosphere and convey mood to keep gamers on the edge of their seats. Is The Legend taking a different approach? Would you care to elaborate on what you're doing instead?
Honestly, the entire team, we really look back on it, and we hated the thought of, just the player going through and collecting notes.
Right.
That's fine. You learn some things. Great. There's a guy following you, and you collecting his notes makes him happy to not chase you 24/7. That was great. It was a great idea. It's a good thing for a short storyline, but it wasn't that great for us. And it grew old really quickly as, more people decided to hop on the train and do the same thing.
Right.
But to be honest, in The Legend, you do collect some notes or, anything else really as we see fit. I don't want to release too much information there, but, it may be beneficial to your knowledge of the backstories, or maybe it might even help you survive. But, we don't see any point in forcing someone to go collect a note that's on some tree somewhere.
Right. Those are more like achievement deals, I guess.
Or exactly. More kind of like an outside companion to the actual game as opposed to an objective. Yeah, just something that we thought would offer, we could put together something, give you a backstory as to maybe why all this is happening. But, if you don't want that and you want the game, then you're there for the game. So, that's what you want to follow. We have the key being, survival at all costs. We're trying to develop a very adaptive gameplay where it's survival. You find a note, you see it may have a hint in there or something that may help you survive, may give you the location of a tool, or may not. But the whole point is
You may want to find them, you may not want to. I mean, hopefully you're going to be doing this with your friends or your team. And, and by team I mean, the AI we offer in single player, if you choose to keep them with you, they will greatly help you. And I'll actually be honest with this one. At first they really just greatly helped because they were picked off one by one before you. And that was fantastic actually. You're going through this urban area and you turn around and one of them's gone. You're like, oh, well, okay, got 2 more left. We're good. But
right, it's like fodder.
Yeah, as we really just sort of developed on that, we took that away and we expanded that in just so many different ways. We sort of gave the AI a personality where sort of like if they really sort of do become your friends or your enemies. You make so many bad choices against them because you're in a group, you're in this together, and AI or not, they want to live too. That's what they want to do. So they may offer a suggestion. I think we should go over here.
Right.
If you're like, well, no, that's a horrible idea. Why are you talking to me? Then you're really just burning some bridges. And when it comes down to it, if you make all of them mad, they may just offer you up so they can survive.
Oh wow.
Honestly, and that was something very interesting. That was very, very complicated to find a way to come up with in CryEngine because there's no really way to do that with the AI. But once we figured it out, it was actually fun to mess around with.
Yeah.
But,
have you found any like situations? I mean, I know you probably know the game in and out. Have you found any times where the AIs kind of surprised you?
Honestly, I really just expected, maybe we'll sacrifice one of them or they'll sacrifice one of us. I found it very interesting when we had one of the male characters and he was very aggressive at times and he would point out one of the females and he would always just want to offer her up and I don't know why. It wasn't sexist, there was nothing behind it, but
right.
This thing had a mind of its own. It just wanted to get rid of this girl and she would always do something like, I think we should go to the warehouse, and be like, well, the warehouse is a bad idea, so why are you talking? We're getting rid of her. Who agrees?
Right.
And you gotta make a vote. You're like, oh well.
Know your place.
Yeah. And then it was really funny because when we were first doing it, it was very flawed, and they'd be like, hey, we're gonna get rid of you, and then Slenderman would like appear right behind her and take her, and then disappear, and you'd be like, oh. Well, nice to see ya. Great. Glad we could have this talk. And we're moving. We are moving. But we really played on that. And the single player, we really wanted to offer that because we're focusing on the single player. But obviously we want to offer, cooperative play. And in our cooperative play, you're going to have the same options. You're going to work as a group. And you get mad enough at a person, you're going to be able to offer up your friends to the Slenderman before he gets you instead. Obviously, we are offering a way that you can all get out together, but
that's cool.
And speaking of the multiplayer, how will it work in the game with other players, and will it be separate from the main story completely?
Right now, we have it sort of in 2 factions. We have survival and story. In the cooperative story, you really just you pick up the story with a friend, where you left off or wherever you want to. And there's certain parts of the story that are going to be modified, because you're with your friend.
Right.
So you can't follow a single player story and just suddenly your friend appears and like, hey man.
Hey man, games do that these days. They're like, hey, there's another Master Chief. Oh, okay, sure.
And then it not just sort of follows the story. So I guess you can call that bonding with your friend. But we really found it interesting because in the survival multiplayer, like I was saying, you play with up to 3 of your other friends. And you really do fight to survive in some of these conditions. When you look down to it, the real question isn't like, how's everyone going to survive? But, who are you going to choose to really leave behind? It really just brings out a new side of everybody, a new side of the gamers. Because it delivers not only like a challenge of morality, but an interesting conversation with friends when you leave or refuse to save them.
Yeah, like if you're with your friends, you have to justify the next day. I'm sorry I left you. I just...
Yeah, and those are some of the coolest like gameplay moments when you're it's not really like against the mechanics of the game, it's more against like what you find out about the other people you're playing with.
Exactly. And we really just wanted to harp on that. We really just wanted to give players, just sort of get a little more personal with each other. See just how great friends you are over the internet, and see
Yeah,
so
right.
who's gonna save themselves? But we do offer in some, let's call them maps, and some of the maps we do offer options where they can become captured but not killed, and you can try to save them, or you can go get their supplies that they had with them if you feel necessary. And that was interesting. I gotta admit, among the team is when certain people would hop in there and like, hey man, it's a great cage. Thanks for your battery. I needed that. But
that's awesome. It sounds like it has like its own kind of like personal like narrative to it.
Exactly, and just like I was saying earlier about the notes, when it comes down to the notes, especially in multiplayer, if you find a note, obviously if you play multiplayer enough, you're gonna find them all. But
right,
if you find a note, you don't have to share it with your friends. So,
wow.
Way out is over here. All right, well, you guys go check over there. I'll be going this way.
This sounds like it's going to be really rough with my friends and playing this together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you're working with CryEngine 3. Like, how is that? Did you have a previous experience with CryEngine 2, or were you just kind of?
I myself was one of the lead developers. I did actually found the code that was put together for the CryEngine 2 co-op, and it wasn't really a code. It was sort of just a little workaround that we came up with. And eventually my computer just died, and I decided to just hand it off to the other guy because we were sort of competing after he figured out how I did it. So sort of handed it over to him, and ever since then I really hadn't been back and touched anything with it. And I saw CryEngine 3, and just so happened I'd got my laptop fixed, and I was like, well, why not? And it all just bloomed into this, really.
That's really cool.
And the game looks beautiful so far.
Yeah,
I have to attribute that to CryEngine 3, I swear. Honestly,
yeah, okay.
It is a beautiful engine, and it is intense, the things that it can create.
Yeah, I mean,
he's a humble man.
He is a very humble man. Yeah, the stuff we're seeing with Crysis 3 is pretty incredible.
As far as the popularity of the Slender mythos, what enticed you to get involved with it and create the Slender Coalition?
Well, I mean, looking back, I would have to say that the web series really did grab me a really long time ago, but I really just lost connection with it. But it really did, it did sort of start something a really long time ago in my head, just sort of click something. But the way the coalition actually started was I talked to Mark Hadley, who is the founder, the developer behind Slender, the 8 pages, and the original Slender game. I talked to him, and we shared some ideas, and we shared some, he shared some stuff with me, just to help me get off, about this or that, and I offered him a deal because I was like, hey, well, you want to work together, maybe not share things, but let's work together. And,
bounce some ideas off each other.
Yeah, friendly competition, so we don't make the same thing.
Right.
Because I didn't want to come out with like a CryEngine 3 version of
Slender, right.
Pages, the beautiful version. And
right.
We'll be like, oh wow, that's stupid. And then
thanks, bud.
Yeah, it actually happened that right after that I had begun talking to now it's called Faceless, but it used to be Slender Source.
Oh, yeah. I saw that in Greenlight, too. I think I upvoted that.
Well, they, we became quick friends with that team, and we sort of really piggybacked off each other, and that was how the Slender Mythos Coalition was really formed. It was just us 3. And following that, I got a string, after our YouTube, channel started booming, which is, I got to be honest, is thanks to the YouTuber PewDiePie, who actually tweeted about us. And I was just sitting one day and I got this update, and it was like, Bro Army incoming, and I just YouTube blew up, and I was like, oh, well, hey man, whatever works. But I got
made the big time, bud.
Yeah, I got this interesting message in my inbox. It was like, hey, we see what you're doing and we want to be a part of it. I was like, okay. So I told this guy, and he's the founder behind Tribe 12, the series on YouTube that follows closely with the Slenderman mythology. And I was like, hey, okay. I was like, tell your friends. I was like, tell your friends that they can, they're in, they can join.
Mm-hmm.
Next day, I got like 16 emails from people, and it wasn't even just like one email per person. It was like 3 emails per person.
Wow.
Right.
Like, hey, did you get it yet? Hey, you haven't answered. Well, it's been like 5 minutes since it's gone down. But in the Slenderman Mythos Coalition actually it boomed. Like right now, we had to kick some out. We didn't accept some, but right now we're 12 teams.
Oh, wow.
The 3 games right now, and then there's the 8 active web series right now, and on top of that, we actually took in a whole community, a whole forums that was interested in in just dedicating all of this time to the Slenderman mythology.
Wow.
And
that's awesome.
I had no idea. I mean, honestly, it was just for friendly competition between the games. But they wanted to hop in, and they wanted to have a say and stuff, and they wanted their name on our nice little pretty tag. So we're like, okay, you can do that, I guess.
Yeah,
that's
really
that's
awesome.
Really cool. Yeah, that's really cool. How has the Greenlight service been so far for you guys?
I mean, I gotta be honest. Greenlight it's fantastic. I mean, the feedback from the community is great. Every time I log on to Steam, you have 41 comments.
Yeah.
And then you'll click on it, and then it'll be like, oh yeah, you read it, and then the next day you have 41 comments. But anyway, yeah, it's fantastic. But I really wish that we had the ability to post articles instead of just videos and images and descriptions.
Right.
Because people only see certain things, and you can't say everything in a video. I don't care who you are, you can't do it unless you put it out in text.
Right.
Yeah.
So people only see these things, and they question this or they question that. Some people are like, oh, it's co-op. It's like, well, if you read the news articles that have been released every month, you would know that.
Yeah.
Right.
And some people, they see the link and to the active update page, are like, nah, I don't feel like doing that, and so they don't look it up, and that's fine. But if we had a way to get to the community and be like, hey, this is what we're doing in text, yeah, I think it'd really just get through to people. I mean, as of right now, as of actually yesterday, we were moved up and we're in the top 10 on Greenlight.
Oh, nice.
Awesome. Congratulations, man.
Yeah, apparently you guys picked the right genre too, because the horror genre has been just doing really well on Greenlight. So
there's not enough horror games on Steam, honestly.
Yeah.
In general, there's not enough horror games. It's a genre that needs a resurgence really badly.
Right, and there's been these few times with Amnesia and games like that have just been so successful and scaring the crap out of people. You kind of wonder, where are all these other games that, it's a genre worth exploring again, since, the Resident Evils and all of them have kind of departed from it, and, but people can do it right. It's just people aren't really exploring it.
And let me remind you, Amnesia was an indie game. It was a team, and all these indie games that are coming out are horror games, and most of them are pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just very interesting how, and I've seen it for a while now, but how indie gamers, they come out of nowhere. They do.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
and then these indie developers, these indie gamers really just sort of turn into indie developers. There's so many people out there that just played an indie game one day and they're like, this is different. And then they started developing it, and they make some beautiful things out there.
Mm-hmm.
The barrier of entry is so much more possible.
Yeah, definitely.
Outside of the Slender universe, what games, movies, books, what kind of other art forms do you take into your voice when you make a game?
As of right now, I mean, going into the legend, like I said earlier, was the Dare Ritter and the Dare Grobman mythologies. Those are playing a big part. They're not that big.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to say our only real source of influence is the other members in the coalition. I mean,
right.
They want the mythology, and we all want the mythology to be strong, and we want the mythology to go in this direction or that direction. And the reason, a prime reason actually behind the coalition was in the end was that we all wanted to take this underdeveloped mythology and pull it in our own direction. Like it's still a baby mythology. It has no history, nothing to it. So
Right.
so people, we all want to take it, we all want to run with it in our own direction. And as we're doing that, we were really just sort of pulling it apart because people would see all these different series and be like, wow, this makes no sense compared to the other one.
Yeah,
And
it's really awesome just seeing kind of this natural kind of growth in this Slender universe that you guys are creating, and
exactly,
it's just really awesome to witness firsthand.
Like you'll probably start seeing more and more of these series, these web series, working with each other in episodes with each other. Like I know Tribe 12 did one recently, and we really want to prolong the mythology and keep it strong. I think our big influence for every one of the teams in the coalition is really each other.
Yeah, then that's probably going to be the thing that'll keep it going, having the input from other people, keeping it rich, and always having it evolving.
The ideas that some of these people come up with are just they're breathtaking. You wouldn't even believe it. You would think that you get 20 of these people in the same room. Honestly, you think they would all just start getting in a fist fight because their ideas are fantastic.
They're all like rock stars. They're just, being each other.
Exactly. And it is sad, though, that at certain times we can only go in certain directions.
Right.
We can't have, two radicals on, one wants to go this way, one wants to go that way, and they're both fantastic, and be like, okay, well, we'll just go both ways and see where it goes. Like, Slenderman's going to show up in a meadow with flowers. Like, it just doesn't work that way. You can't do that no matter how fantastic your idea of the meadow is and the flowers. We just can't do it.
Right. There has to be some sort of continuity.
Exactly.
Yeah, and plus at a certain point, I imagine you guys have to just kind of pick a direction and just kind of go with it.
Yeah, we really can't, there's certain things in life you can make full circle, but I don't think Slenderman you can.
Right.
You're gonna be able to, I don't think any of us are really gonna be able to take that mythology and bend it in a full circle back to where we started and even farther in the other direction. I don't think that we're gonna be able to do that.
Right.
The game sounds amazing. Speaking of like with wanting to let your fans know, was there any one thing you really want to let your fans know about the game?
I would have to say, just be prepared. I've been saying that to the fans as time goes on. Be prepared for this update or be prepared for the game. But there's nothing else we can say. All these other teams are releasing like how they're gonna have their creature look and how this is like their new weapon and stuff like that. But people are getting frustrated with us because we're not doing that. We're not releasing all this materials.
Yeah, you've been really tight-lipped. You're not showing anything about it yet.
Exactly. And the reason we're doing that is, we want to keep it tight. We don't want you to see what he's going to look like before he gets you. We don't want you to know what this is going to look like, so that way when you walk into the game, like, I saw a video on this, I know where to go. We want you to get into the game and not have any idea what's about to happen.
To be as scary as it should be.
Exactly. If you want it scary, then you need to not have any clue what's going on, because we want players to walk away from this and immediately turn on a light in their room or their living room, or go jump in the bed with their spouse, check on their children to make sure they're there. We want them to be dramatically affected. And we're not going to release things like that. So the only thing that we can say to our community and our fans that have been loyal to us is just be prepared.
Fair enough.
Well, judging from the videos, you guys are doing a really good job of that so far. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Austin Handel. Where can everyone find more information about the game?
You'll be able to look it up more on our mod DB page, which will be switched over to an ND DB page, but I will leave that link with you guys if you guys want to give that out.
Most certainly. All right, Austin, thank you so much. All right, guys, that's it for us this week. Thanks again to Austin Handel for the interview. Brian, as always, take us out.
Okay, so if you guys want more information on the legend, go to moddb.com/mods/the-legend. If you want to reach us on Twitter, you can find Randy He is Cursing User. I'm the Brian Jensen. Email us at 1985fmpodcast@gmail.com. Like our Facebook page. Subscribe to us on iTunes, please. And if you like the songs we play on today's show, check out the soundtrack section of our site at 1985fm.com. Or, if you're a Spotify member, just search 1985FM. Later, bitches.